Good day, everyone. My name is Pahlani from Africa Kids Code. I'll be your host for today's session, which is staying productive online. So, guys, please, just so that I can know who my audiences are, please write your name in the comment box so that I can know who I'm presenting to. Today's agenda is that we will discuss the items you need to set up your remote office. We will also discuss the importance of building a productive working environment and provide top tips on how to do this. And lastly, we'll discuss how to manage and maintain your well-being. So let's take a minute or two to familiarize ourselves with the comment functionality, which we'll be using during today's session. Before we get started, I would like to ask you a question. How has COVID-19 impacted your role? Functionality, which will anyone? Okay, I see people are saying that working from home, but then it has impacted them in a positive way, while they're saying that working from home, there's no need to worry about going to cash taxis, and also saves time for them. Also saves time and money for them. The negative impact is that they can't go to the office, and then sometimes they feel lonely. Okay. So our first section is how to set up your remote office. And one would ask, what is remote working? Remote working is a working style that allows professionals to work outside of a traditional office environment, and it is based on the concept that work does not need to be done in a specific place to be executed successfully. And then while having the ability to work from outside of a corporate office has been feasible for a few decades, working remotely is only now becoming a mainstream. I hope you guys understand what remote working is. And then I also see someone typing that when you are working from home, you also get to be more productive. Thank you for that. I think of it this way: instead of commuting to an office each day to work from a designated desk, you can execute your work and achieve your goals whenever you want. Remote working allows you the flexibility to design your day so that your professional and personal life can be experienced to the fullest potential and coexist peacefully. There has been a cultural paradigm shift in what society deems to be an appropriate workplace, and remote work has capitalized off at that newfound freedom. And then one will also ask, where can people work remotely? Working remotely doesn't mean you only work at home. There are lots of places you can work from. Once, now that everything is back to normal, for some self-employed people, a home office is the best solution. But that doesn't mean you have to fill a corner of your living room with a blanket desk and monitor. You can fit your office wherever it is in your life. And the other thing about self-employed people is that working at home cuts off the commute time. It also costs less and gives you the flexibility with your home life. Working in public spaces like coffee shops, cafes, bars, restaurants often boost productivity. Life can get pretty boring sitting at home. Uh, I remember someone mentioning that working from home it can get lonely. So if you don't want to feel lonely, you can work from the coffee shops, the bars, and restaurants. Women are also social animals, and the interaction with others is important for your mental health. If you don't just work from home but live alone too, then your contact with other people may be limited. Working in cafes gives you the chance of at least a smile from someone else and maybe even a chat. Co-working spaces are a great option for freelancers and the remote workers. But the fee for a dedicated desk can run hundreds per month, and also be aware of costs around this. If you don't need to make phone calls, libraries are a great place to get the work done. Uh, with the libraries that you can work from the library free, unlike at the coffee shop, you have to buy a coffee. And then imagine if you're meeting someone there, you also have to spend something before the meeting can get started. The other advantage of working at the library is that most of the libraries have free Wi-Fi, and then there are also lots of tables, and then you can also book a meeting room where you can have a meeting with someone. But wherever you choose to work, one thing remains key, and that's ensuring you are equipped with the tools you need to work effectively. What do you need to work remotely? What do you guys need to work remotely? Okay, as the light shows that what you need to work remotely, you need a dedicated workspace. You also need devices such as smartphones, and then you also need a good internet. There are a few key elements you need to work remotely. As mentioned, if you are working from home, put some thought into creating a working environment that is suitable for the type of work you do. Be respectful of the spaces, especially if it is a shared space. Just because you are not working at an office doesn't mean you can't have an office. Rather than working in your room or on the couch, spaces that are associated with leisure time, dedicate a specific room and surface in your home to work from. Devices, this is the technology you will need to do your work. For example, you need a laptop if you are working on the typed documents and the spreadsheets. You also need a phone if you have to take calls. The good internet is that working today is increasing collaboratively, and then you may rely on internet connection to send and receive files, work on live files, and communicate with your team. For this reason, an internet connection is crucial to your remote working toolkit. For an example, I am working remotely from my home. Because of a good internet, I'm able to stream live and present this to you. So let's take a look at this in a bit more detail. First thing first, the living room or in the bedroom might not be the best place to work if you want to be productive. That's why creating your own workplace at home is very important, as it will help you concentrate. Pick a place inside your home environment where you feel most productive. Although most people talk of working from the couch comfortably, you will realize that it isn't as effective as you may have thought. Consider setting aside a table and a chair in a room with minimum distractions. A simple desk and a comfortable chair in one corner of your room or on the balcony will work just fine. The workplace doesn't have to be out of this world. And if possible, create an economically comfortable workplace. By this, I mean that a space where you can create a comfortable sitting position. Choose a type of chair with the back arch support, and also make sure you have a comfortable head position when deciding on the position or place for your laptop or monitor. Next, I will discuss the equipment you will need. The physical equipment you might need is that depending on the sort of work you do, you may need a phone to answer calls, as I've mentioned, or to communicate with teammates on chat. Like example, you can have a WhatsApp group with your colleagues. You will also need a computer working on multiple documents, also for video calls and conferences. Most laptops come with a webcam, but they tend to angle up the user's nostrils, meaning an external camera is best. Here it says, so make sure that you set up your webcam nicely so that people can see your face and also part of your shoulders, so that it doesn't only show your noses. You also need a notebook. Why? A notebook is handy to jot down some thoughts. Also, that's where you write the to-do list and the ideas. Get a stable power. To be productive, you have to get stable power to charge your devices. Finding a stable power supply for working may be one of the major challenges you'll face as a freelancer. To be productive, you have to get a stable power to charge your devices such as laptops, mobile phones, so that if there are load sheddings, you'll be sorted and you'll be able to continue working. One way you can surmount this challenge is getting a generating set. You probably one already. You can also try solar powered devices, inverters, and apps. Working remotely likely means incurring additional costs of powering generators and purchasing the solars, also the inverters. Working on the go remotely in other locations with Wi-Fi, such as the cafes, the libraries, are also a great option. Take your laptop to a place where you can get power while you work. You also have to find sufficient internet connection. While the cost of data has cheapened in the recent times, the speed of internet connection hasn't improved much. Slow internet connection means you can't do much online, that the web pages will take forever to load, and then this will cause frustration and greatly affect your productivity. Imagine if you're trying to go to a certain website and then your browser takes about maybe 5 minutes to open just a single page. Do you think you'll still be motivated to go on to work, or you get irritated? To be productive, you need to have a decent internet connection. This might mean moving from laptop, etc., to investing in broadband or fiber to the home internet service. But don't be that person who didn't finish an important task because of a slow internet. Choosing the right internet service providers. The first step is to choose the right service provider depending on where you live, and there will be multiple service providers to choose from. For an example, you might want to work with using Telcom. Some might prefer MTN. Some might prefer Vodacom, but most people say that Vodacom it's a bit expensive unless if it's a contract, you're having a contract with them. And then there is also Rain with the unlimited data, but sometimes people are complaining about the customer service and also the internet connection. If your data connection is unreliable, working remotely will be an advantage. You can work and change location in search for better and improved network connection. With the right router, choosing the right kind of router is as important as keeping it at the right place for ideal signal strength, and make sure that the Wi-Fi router is not kept in an enclosure or blocked by too many things around. The plug-in running a network cable from the router to the home office location is also ideal. And then you can use the first.com or Google Internet Speed to test and compare internet speed across different internet service providers. This will help you ensure your internet is fast and will not affect your workflow. So before you choose any internet service providers, you have to check if that internet service provider has coverage in your area. So now that we know what equipment we'll need, let's look at some of the challenges we'll need to overcome. The first thing first is the bandwidth. Let's look at the bandwidth and the connectivity. Companies need to figure out how much bandwidth employees need to work from home and stay connected. Technologies such as the video conferencing need to receive and to transmit data, meaning looking at the download speed only isn't enough. The highest common denominator is needed here, which is the minimum is 10 megapixels per second internet connection. It could be 10 megapixels per second down, and only 2 Mbps up, meaning the common bandwidth is the 10 Mbps. So what are the challenges of working remotely? Challenges of working remotely is that the loneliness. Yes, I remember someone saying that as they get lonely when working from home. The loneliness is one of the major drawbacks of remote working, especially for extroverts. You know who are those? If you are used to the office chats, you might find working from home lonely. However, if you think working alone affects your productivity, you can go to a restaurant or eatery to get your work done. Imagine if you and your colleagues would hang up on Monday just before you can get the work done, just to catch up on what happened over the weekend. But with working from home, there's no more time for you guys to catch up about what happened over the weekend. The other challenge of working from home is the self-discipline. You need to be dedicated, disciplined, and also have self-control to avoid losing momentum while working from home. Don't convince yourself that a single YouTube video during your working hours won't do any harm, because you might watch a video on YouTube, and then before you finish that one, you see the next video that's coming up. You'll be like, no, let me watch the last one. Before you know it, you'll be the child time. You have to spend hours on it. So remember to be self-disciplined. The other challenge is no employee benefits. You won't have employee benefits like the health insurance or the retirement funds. Although working at home opportunities in some countries provide medical coverage, the same can be said when working online, for example, in certain companies. And another challenge of working from home is that it's difficult to switch off. When you are working in your office, you are most likely conscious of the closing time. That's not always the case when you work remotely, because you'll be alone. When working remotely, the lines between the work and the home life are blurred. Since you are working from your dining room, you might not find it easy to disengage yourself from work. And lastly, the missing out, which is the fear of missing out. Working remotely could make you feel left out occasionally when you miss out on important announcements, the meetings, and the events in your office. You're most likely to be the last person to hear in your office about the upcoming events and the important announcement. However, with software like Slack, you can keep up to date while you work remotely. Although these challenges may seem large initially, with time and some getting used to, you can master and overcome these challenges. The benefits of working from home outweigh the con, the disadvantages. So, what are the benefits of remote working? The benefits of working remotely for employees is the flexibility. Sometimes there are things you just need to. Sometimes there are things you just need to be at home for. Whether it's waiting in for repair service, or you have bought something online and then you have to receive a parcel. Working from home allows you the flexibility to deal with the unexpected. On top of that, there are everyday tasks you can fit in around your work while doing your laundry and receiving online grocery deliveries. The second benefit is no commuting, traveling to work. Traveling to work takes time out of your day that you will need to get back, and that's before you take into account of how long it takes to get ready in the morning. Whether you work from home, you can be at your desk or the kitchen table and ready to work within a few minutes of waking up. So the other benefit of working from home is that if you were waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, now you can wake up around 7:30, just so that just to freshen up and then start working immediately. You can even schedule some meditation or exercise in before you get stuck into your task, instead of getting stuck in a traffic or cramped public transport. The other benefit of working from home is that you have more time with your family. With the less distractions, with some willpower and a steady routine, you will still learn to avoid being distracted by the TV and your next load of laundry. In fact, you should find yourself getting more done when you work from home. That's because you can control your working situation much more. You don't have to worry about the co-workers stopping by just to ask a quick question or socialize. When you are in remote and you need to really concentrate, you can change your status in the group chat and set it to do not disturb, so that people can know, like when a message, instead of having messages popping up on your phone, when you set it to do not disturb, you don't see those messages until you are done. Maybe you can set it for an hour, so that messages that comes within that between that hour, you you also need a high morale. Remote employees are notably less stressed and have higher morale than their in-office counterparts. The other part is that you get happier, healthier employees, produce better work, and feel more committed to their companies. From this perspective, remote work is good business sometimes. Okay, I see there are questions, but I'll answer your questions on the next slide. So, the benefits of remote working for businesses is that the first one is reduce overhead cost. What do we mean by the reduced overhead cost? The cost of securing an office space uh, is high, especially in major cities like the Lagos. For many startups companies, paying high rents places a heavy burden on their budgets, forcing them to make cuts to vital areas of their businesses. This is not only saves rent cost, it also saves on your utilities and the resources. This would add up over time and can make a significant impact on the overhead. Another benefit for businesses is that productivity from a highly engaged workforce, access to wider pool of talent. By allowing employees to work remotely, employers can hire the best talents while not limiting themselves by the geographical restrictions. And then there's a company, another one is company can hire workers in jobs, and startups in the southeast can have more employees that work remotely from the north central. This also promotes a diversity as different people from different geopolitical zones work together. In other words, by offering a remote work option, companies can extend their tentacles to a wider pool of talent. And then lastly is the improved employee retention. Before we move on to the next session, I would like to take a few minutes to answer any questions you may have. Don't hesitate to ask a question. My colleagues and I will definitely get to you. Okay, I see someone is asking, what about this? Like, what about this video that I'm playing? They're asking if they can watch the video that I'm playing while they are at work. Of course, yes. When we are on lunch, that's when you are free. You can watch any videos that you like, but make sure that you manage your time wisely. The next section is build a productive environment. Why your work environment is important. The quality of your workplace is vital to productivity. Put some thought into the workspace. There are some tips to creating a workspace that promotes wellness and productivity, including the use of natural light and desk position. You will need to consider the space for your various tasks and how to arrange your home office layout effectively. You also need to create an area of your own to work. It can be at the countertop in the kitchen where your laptop is, or a corner in the den with the desk, or a whole room in the house where other households have a study room. If your workplace is in a shared place, consider creating a screen to add separation. Another thing is that you can find the right chair for you. Find a chair within your home and or purchase an ergonomic chair to sit at your desk. Invest in a good chair that fits you and feels good. And you must also remember to do what your budget affords. And lastly, develop a filing system to keep you organized so that you can know where to find which document, a document that you were working on maybe 2 days ago. It's important to ensure your personal environment is one which helps you work effectively and remotely, and your environment has great impact of the quality of the work that you produce. According to research study on the benefits of work environment on productivity, workplace distractions cut employee distraction by 40% and increases errors by 27%. How can you, one will ask, how can I minimize the distractions? So these are the steps to minimize the distractions. It can be challenging to avoid distractions at work, and that may become more so in your home environment. Sometimes focusing on the work right in front of you can be a challenge, even more so if it's something you hope you didn't need to do. So here are the few tips to help you avoid getting too distracted. Let others know your work hours. For example, if you have a partner, like in a long distance relationship, you have to tell your partner that you won't be available between maybe, for example, 8 to 12. If there's anything that they want to talk to you about, they can call you maybe at 12 o'clock midday, or they can call you after 4 p.m. That's when you knock off. If you have a family at home, neighbors and friends, let them know your work hours. That way they can speak to you at a time which suits both of your needs. And then this will allow them to, this will not allow them to interrupt you. They will only talk to you about something that is urgent. Another step to minimize distraction is to do one thing at a time. After breaking down your huge process into smaller, doable pieces, choose one and dedicate it entirely to it. After you complete it, you can move on to the next until you finish. Remember to avoid TV and household distractions. Put away all pets. While we love our furry friends, they will only distract you. Like, for example, if you have a dog, a cat that you usually play with, make sure that you lock it away while you are working, because It might distract you while you're working. So you need to remember to save the animal love for after work hours. Make sure that you take regular breaks. There's only so much work our brain can handle before it starts failing and causing great distraction. Get up from your table, go for a short walk, or grab a coffee. You'll find that when you go back to work, it will be a lot easier to avoid distractions. So if you are tired, rest. I'm not meaning, when I say rest, I don't mean that you should go to your bed and lie down, because it might take forever. A power nap might turn into something else. Minimize your distraction, distraction that will help you optimize your productivity when working remotely. One other question is that how can you improve your productivity within teams? So there is project management. Remote team members need to be able to plan and collaborate on commitments and deliverables and the tasks. They also need to track the flow of work from start to finish. Establish your vision and deliverables. Establish logistics for the team communication. Promote visibility and transparency of all work. Remember to track the quality and the status of projects. Identify and address the bottlenecks. 70% of workplace mistakes are due to poor communication. Communication plays a fundamental role in your daily life. For some, good communication comes naturally, but for others, it can be hard to articulate their thoughts and feelings in conversation, often leading to conflict and fundamental errors. Whether you are an effective communicator or not, it's essential to understand the importance of good communication and how it can help you move forward in the working world. It's important to communicate effectively when working in general, but disparate teams can impact the efficiency of more traditional company communication. There are different communication tools that can work more effectively than others to communicate with teams depending on the purpose or task at hand. Emails are particularly useful for business communication. Group mail allows you to send a single mail to a large number of recipients. Unlike instant messaging or instant chat, responses from emails can take longer and messages may get lost in the spam. Messaging platforms can facilitate many of the daily functions a physical workplace or internal email thread would normally perform. There are lots of chat-based platforms out there that allows you to communicate more effectively with your teams. But what rules can we create to communicate more effectively? So you need to set rules to communicate effectively. Therefore, creating the right communication channels and ensuring everyone knows how to use them is important. Virtual teams don't always choose their communication channels wisely, which can harm trust, increase tension, and create unnecessary work. Think about what kind of things will be communicated in the channel. Also, action items, feedback, deadline reminders. Consider your audience. Make sure your message is appropriate. Communicate clearly. respond promptly, set and role mode the guidelines. It's important to communicate effectively when working in general. There are different communication tools that can work more effectively than others to communicate with teams, depending on the purpose or task at hand. These are the tools that you can use for video meetings and calls. The first one, which is Google Meet. The second one is the Zoom platform. And the third one is Microsoft Teams. The fourth one is the Skype video calling. And lastly, the WhatsApp chat. Keep your team connected with enterprise-grade video conferencing built on Google's robust and secure global infrastructure. Google Meet is included with the G Suite and the G Suite for Education. Take advantage of the same resource by design infrastructure, building protection, and global network that Google uses to secure your information and safeguard your privacy. Meet video meetings are encrypted in transit, and our area of default on anti-abuse measures keep your meetings safe. Google Meet is fully integrated with the G Suite, so you can join meetings directly from a calendar event or email invite. All of the important event details are right there when you need them, whether you're joining from a computer, phone, or the conferencing room. With Google Meet as specially designed for the iOS and the Android apps, you can see your meetings for the day with all the important information from the calendar, then join with just a tap. The Google Suite Enterprise Edition also creates a dial-in phone number for each meeting, so every guest has a great experience even on the road without Wi-Fi or data. So on the next slide, we're gonna go into detail of the Zoom. Zoom is an application that can be downloaded either on your computer or the mobile device. You can request a demo or even download it for free. Zoom is free for the first 45 minutes. You can use Zoom to host or join a meeting for online classes through the app or by accepting an email invite. Zoom can be downloaded on either PC, the Mac, Android, or the iOS. And then Zoom can take up to 100 people that can join on the online class or meeting in the free model. Microsoft Teams enables businesses to collaborate and communicate with team members across the world. Create teams and channels to organize your departments, separate groups, and enables teams to work more effectively. Utilize the chat and the video call function to boost communication. There are also the GIFs and the emojis to use. You can also share documents and collaborate with ease. Use the add function to tag or notify team members. Microsoft Teams is included in your Microsoft 365 package. With the Skype video chat app, you will have access to a variety of innovative features. In today's always on the go world, it can be difficult to get groups of friends, family members, or the co-workers together in one place. Group video chats makes it easy for up to 50 people to meet and collaborate all at once. With the group screen sharing, you can present the PowerPoint slides, video recordings, and more to your entire team. Remote co-workers can work more effectively, and assigning projects or discussing the due dates are faster and more productive with face-to-face conversation through Skype group video calling. With the Skype video chat app, you'll have access to a variety of innovative features like the immersive full-screen video, which allows you to focus on your work while you attend a meeting or just a casual chat with your friends. You can also send the chat invites to anyone, even to people or clients who don't use the Skype, by using a unique link through which they can connect with you. There's another feature which is the background blur. Focus on the speaker, not the background. This is a new feature in the Skype app. So one will ask how to run the effective meetings. So here are the steps to run an effective meetings. First thing first, you need to set agendas. These help you to frame discussions and the wider session. Ensure everyone is on the same page. Second step is to consider your tone of voice. If working remotely, people can see your body language as easily, so your voice is all they have to go by. Make sure your intonation is good and your expression is also good. Thirdly, you need to encourage using cameras. It's important to connect with each other, which make things more personal and boost non-verbal communication. And lastly, be timely. Don't leave people waiting on calls. Make sure that you are always punctual as you would for an in-person meeting. Video conferencing etiquette. So here are the steps to run effective meetings. Few have given much thought to how they should behave in this new reality of work. Employees are still technically at work, so would wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt be acceptable? So you need to make sure that you dress appropriately. Don't turn up in the sweatpants or a tank top. Don't dress appropriately. Dressing appropriately will help get in the mindset of the work. You also need to consider your lighting. Another consideration is where the light source is coming from. Adjust your camera for different contrasts so faces can appear clearly. A desk lamp position from above to reduce shadows as well as the light up your face is recommended. You also need to consider your background. In order to be clearly visible, it is good practice to use a neutral background with little to no movement. Things like curtains, blinds, which can move in the wind and can be distractive to your audience. The colors you wear should also be in consonant with their environment to ensure you stand out in the video. I'm sure everyone can see me clearly. They can see my face. And also the color of my shirt is not distracting, hopefully. And lastly, you need to consider your audio. Make sure that people can hear you clearly. And remember to mute your mic if you are not speaking, especially if there's a lot of background noise. So we are now discussing the top tips for collaborating effectively. Make sure that you equip your team with the right tools. Make project management easier. Make document sharing a breeze. Encourage collaboration between departments and prioritize company culture. The final top tips for productivity. In this time of coronavirus pandemic, remote work or working from home has moved from being a perk to a policy. How productivity you are during this period of social distancing could set a precedent in making a case for or against working from home in the future. So the final tips to help you work effectively are the over communication. Communicate with your team regularly and keep them in the loop. Unlike an office environment, when working remotely, your team members can see what tasks you are doing. Be disciplined. Don't fall into temptations. Remote work is not vacation or the paid leave. Since there's no supervisor looking over your shoulders to check if you are sleeping or chilling or watching your favorite series, so as you know, that may be tempting. Don't turn off your phone. Ignore communication from your boss or colleagues or give excuses. Discipline yourself. Work from home and earn your pay. Thirdly, have your tools ready. For most people that can and will be working remotely, the lifeblood of their productivity is power and internet. Make sure you have alternative sources of power, a generating cell or inverter, and unlimited fast internet service. You can also find the tune of the distribution company of your area and then to it. Work when they give you light, and if nothing is working, let your boss know they can get you power packs. Find your booster and use it. For example, what gets you into invisible work mode? Find a good playlist of music that you enjoy, or if having snack by your side is working for you, make sure that whenever you are working, you should have snack right next to you. Depending on your employment situation, you may be flexible. You may have flexible working hours. Use these to work when you are most active. Whether you are a late or an early bird, working from home allows you to work at the best time, just to make sure you deliver as and when due. Before we move on to the last section, I would like to pause for questions. So the last section that we are doing is manage and maintain your well-being. Why is it important to manage your well-being? It's important to manage your well-being because it impacts your overall health. It leads to greater productivity. It increases your resilience. It boosts your morale and the levels of happiness. What can you do to manage your well-being? Avoid overworking and make sure that you take regular breaks. One of the reasons many managers don't approve of remote work is they fear employees will slack off without that physical in-person oversight. But in fact, the opposite tends to be the reality. Remote working can result in overworking. When your personal life and your work are both under the same roof, it's harder to switch off. Make sure to allow yourself breaks throughout the day. Be clear with your team on when you are leaving, for example, by making a quick announcement in the Slack and then actually shut down your computer. Also, remember to turn off notifications on your phone and computer so you're not pulled back into work after hours. Set appointments on your calendar for the end of the day to get yourself out of the work office. E.g., for example, to go to the gym or go grocery shopping or just take a walk around the block. Be ready for the culture shift. To help you embrace the shift, consider the following: trust your overall performance, rethink the concept of work, understand your commitments, and also be patient. Managing your overall well-being. You need to make sure that you encourage exercise within your teams, take mental health as serious as physical health, hold regular performance check-ins, encourage workers to separate work and private life, organize in-person social meetups. So if you have any questions, please write in the comment and we'll definitely get to it. Today's session is just the beginning. So what one thing will you do or change after attending this session? So I would like to find out what is it that you will implement first after attending the session. Okay, I see no one is commenting. So please make sure that you find us on social media or follow us using the handles that are scrolling on the screen. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube using the same handle, which is @AfricaKidsCode. Thank you for attending the session. So this comes to the end of today's session until we see each other again. Thank you for interacting in the